We kick off the webinar today with the favorite topic that's been the buzz around the office, and we want to shout from the rooftops. It's Kai, our next gen AI steward, which is making MDO a game changer. And to discuss what we've done with Kai and what's coming, and take you through the fantastic journey that's been driving the organization in the last few months. I have with me Hai Tong, who's the head of product delivery. Welcome, Hai, to this webinar. And I have Arnav, our business analyst, who has been deep into the development and the shaping of Kai. And both of them are going to take us through the journey and bring us up to speed on how Kai is reshaping MDO. Over to you, Hai.
Thank you, PU. Welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you join us today. Give me 1 second as I share my screen. Thank you again for joining us today. And welcome. So we've been, like PU has said, we've been very excited and working really, really hard on this, on the Kai agent. And we're very pleased to go through and show that to you today. To start off with, I'd like to introduce you to Kai, not relating to my name. Coincidentally, it's just named similarly, but we have been working on this, and we've been bringing, you may have been familiar, or if you've used it a little bit before, one of the first features, of course, we brought on was to ask Kai and explore our knowledge base on how to use MDO platform. But I know you all here are not here for that. You are here to see how our agent will help you create master data. And, I'm very pleased to say that we're probably the first AI agent to actually go through the process of master data creation, whether that is from full creation or to make changes to a particular piece of master data. And with Kai, it leverages off everything that is great about MDO. So there is no configurations that you need to do. There is no further adjustments or addition or anything. It is a turn on and go agent. And basically what it means is it's fully configurable because it's built off of all of our forms, our flows, our rules, and it leverages and it has knowledge of what is already configured and built within your MDO. So for example, if we say business rules, every business rules that goes through a validation on a particular form, Kai will know about it and Kai will validate it for you. So you'll see that in action as we go through and we give you a demo. And there's really no limitations to that, right? So it leverages off the backbone of what is already robust and built in MDO, right? So Kai recognizes at the initiation step. The most important part here is it's because it's fully configurable. You can make it as strict or as loose as you like, according to your business needs, right? On top of that, it's built with access controls, and out of the box, it works with all modules right now on the MDO platform. Okay, without extra configuration. That's key. However, that doesn't mean it's not configurable. So even with without the startup cost of configuration, you can still further customize it so it understands specificity in how you might term a you might communicate within your organization. So we'll go through and we'll show you how that is also done. Okay. How we took and to give you a bit of background on how we built Kai, one of the challenges that we have with AI is that it's if you give it data or if you give it a particular prompt, it's not easily deducible unless there is a lot of specificity to it. Right, so we went through actually multiple iterations to find out what is the best approach, what is going to bring the most value to our users, right? And we basically ended up landing on a guided approach. Right, so what that means is, as you're using Kai to make your master data, we build it in such a way that you can you go through step by step, or Kai will help you go through step by step on how to create that piece of master data. Right, so you can ask it things like, hey, what sort of fields do I need to fill out? Any dependencies, any validations, or what sort of validations, all of that sort of thing leverages off all the existing data and rules that you have, and then surfacing it into Kai, which then communicates it back to the customer or to the user. So then the user can easily create that master data without the overhead, and this part is really important, without the overhead of understanding every piece of data that needs to be filled in, right? So it lowers the learning costs or the retraining costs that is going to be impactful to your users. Okay. What does that mean for us? It means that through our testing, we are able to achieve a rate of 95% reliability and 97% repeatability. And I think these numbers are really, really important, because with AI, when you ask it to do something, generally, if you've used ChatGPT or any other type of AI, it doesn't immediately understand the context of what you're asking it to do. But with this guided approach and with free text, which we'll also get to, but we were able to test and internally benchmark, and we got a rate of 95% reliability. That means that if you ask it to do something, for example, fill out a task list or an asset, and for particular areas or fields, it will understand you correctly, right? And that's critically important, because what you don't want is data going into the wrong place. That's what we term reliability. And repeatability means if you give it the same information, right? Like fill out task list 1, 2, 3. If you gave it the same information, will it reliably give you the same answer or same result, right? So both of these metrics are critical for us to make sure that master data doesn't get corrupted, or master data doesn't get picked up in the wrong place, or filled in the wrong areas. So both of these benchmarks are critical for us, and we're very pleased that we're able to get a very high level of repeatability and reliability. But AI is not foolproof, but I think at this rate, it is very comfortable for you to use with confidence. We've also built in safeguards into it, such as auditability, such as a fallback option for you, just in case your user cannot go through. It doesn't mean the data is lost, doesn't mean the conversation is lost. That means the effort is not wasted. So all of that we will showcase as we go along. Now, what is the benefits to your users? What are you getting out of it? How is it going to help you? And where do we as a platform envision Kai going? So firstly, I'd like to think of AI as being able to help you, your organization, your enterprise, get to data creation at source. So, when you're creating master data, a lot of what we've seen from our customers is usually it's once removed at the point of data creation, it's once removed from the user who actually needs it. Right. So whether that's your maintenance engineer or your plant manager or whoever it is that is wanting to create the master data, usually it goes through one more step, whether, I've seen stories of people using post-it notes or an Excel or an email or some other form of communication to a master data specialist before the data gets created. Right. And that adds cost. So with AI and the guided process, we're aiming to look to target your ground users as close as possible to your ground users, the people who are using it every day, who understand um, 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 their data or their assets or the materials. They understand it the best. What they don't have is their ability to easily create master data, and that's where Kai comes in. All right. So in order to achieve that, I mentioned before, is guided, which I mentioned, which means it takes you step by step. That means you don't have to retrain someone to use AI in order to create master data, because it's a complicated process, right? There's a lot of fields, there's a lot of validations, all of that sort of thing. So it can be quite frustrating. But with guided AI, Kai, sorry, will take you through step by step to help the user without you having to do a massive retraining program, right? And through that guided process, what we envision is you first go through the process of the user through the guided process will learn how to create master data without that massive friction. And as they learn, they get better or they understand, then they can shortcut the whole process by just simply using the free text. So we actually have both options for them to go through and go through Kai to create either or process, right? So if you want a quick way, you go free text. And if you're new, or if you're bringing someone on board, or if you're onboarding someone, or if you're just simply introducing it to your organization, you can go through and have the guided process. And both is there available within Kai itself. And we'll point that out as we go along in the demo. What does that sort of mean for you? And I like to term this process as master data democratization, right? So the creation process then frees up your master data specialist from just inputting data, right? From inputting data to empowering them to focus on improving data quality, which is actually the most valuable part of your master data specialist or your data steward, right? So that is what currently is difficult to do. That is where a lot of value can be extracted from your internal users, rather than doing most of the data entry or gathering or clarifying and all that sort of work that requires you to create the data. And what that means is then you can reduce the amount of time, the turnaround time for the user to submit the master data, to turning it around to actually using the master data. Right, so we've been working very closely with a couple of our customers in developing this, and the goal is to reduce, and we seen some of that value coming through already from days. Sometimes it could take days, even weeks, depending on how well the data is structured or is communicated to the master data specialist. Someone might be sick, whatever the case may be. Takes days to reducing that from to hours in most cases. And if the data is entered in perfectly or correctly, it could take minutes from a request being raised to a request being approved, depending on your workflow within your organization. So we're very excited to bring that on board. So with that, I would love to pass it on over to Arnav to go through the demo with you. So Arnav, would you like to take it away?
Thank you, Hai. Thanks for the gracious welcome. Welcome, everyone. Let me actually share my screen and take you through what Hai has already very descriptively talked about. So, let's see. Okay. Let me know when the screen is visible. All right. So this is what the landing page of Kai would look like, right? Or does look like. So we have, and Kai, as Hai had already very rightly mentioned, your personal AI assistant, right? Which helps you not just work on master data, but also create master data without actually having to go through forms or business rules or not knowing what to do. Just removing that entire complex process and getting you through into the steps to create master data. So let me just go ahead and click on raise a request, which is one of the couple options that you will see when you land onto Kai. So clicking on that is going to fetch me all of the data sets or objects that are available on MDO for you to work on. So as you can see, I have maintenance plan, business partner, material master, and a couple others. So what we'll focus on today is task list. So let me just go on there and click on task list. So what that does in the background is validate what all processes I can, what I configured in the system, what I can perform through Kai, looks at all the business rule validations, and gives me a list of actions that I can perform. So for the purpose of this example, let's go through a change process. Let's say I'm here at the site as a reliability engineer, and I look at this particular task list in my hand, and I'm like, hey, something doesn't look right. So I know that the task list number is readily available with me. So I'll just paste it here. So Kai asks me, hey, what task list do you want to work on? So I can just give it that particular task list. And I can see that it doesn't look like the description in this particular request is descriptive enough. So I need to make a couple changes here, right? So I'll just copy these changes and we'll talk about them in just a sec. So I'll just choose the free text option here, which is one of the many options that you may see here, which are just a list of sections. So I can either choose to click on a particular section and work on that, or I can also go free text. Clicking on free text, I'm just going to paste my prompt here, which says, hey, change the description, the task list description to this value and change the work center to a mechanical type. Mechanical work center. So let me just click on send here and see what it does. So I've clicked on, I've chosen DESC as an abbreviation here for a field called task list description. So do note that Kai is able to understand what you mean by that abbreviation and picks out the correct field and then gives it to you as a summary. So now it says, hey, validation was successfully executed. You can click here for the summary. So let me just click here for summary and see what it says. And voila, it identified in my free text that I wanted to change the work center to this value, which is the mechanical crew 0001. And it also identified from DESC, just an abbreviation out of the entire field name task list description, that, hey, this is what I want to change, and this is the value that I want to change it to. Maybe, but I'm not satisfied here. I still want to understand more about the task list. I want to look at the task list, get a feel of it, see what other fields there are. So I can go to the view form option here. Clicking on it will side by side open up the task list itself. So this is the task list that I have available. I can validate the task list, see what the other fields look like, see what values exist. Is it as I expect? Hey, maybe not so. I see an assembly value here, which doesn't really correlate to the material that should be there. So I can go back and say, hey, change the assembly to 1000063. And watch it perform. So it's going to go there. It's going to perform all of the validations that are necessary, all the business rule validations, see what fields are required, see if there's any dependencies involved, what plant exists for these values, and then go in and process my request. And once I click here on this summary, again, we're going to see that it updated what I asked it to update earlier, which was the work center and the task list description, but it also updated the assembly value. Maybe I'm satisfied here. So I'm just going to go on and click on submit request. Say more descriptive maintenance. So these are just additional comments that my approver would see in his inbox to justify why I'm making this change. So this is all configurable, and this is how this particular task list or module has been set up. So I'm just now going to go towards shift more towards a persona, which is of an approver. So this is going to be a site engineer who comes in and goes to his inbox to see what tasks do I have available. If you note, this is the record that we just worked on. And it says, hey, this record has been requested for change by user, well, my name, and is pending for now. So I can click on this request, see it populate, and I can also see that, okay, this is more descriptive. I added some more details. What was the value that existed before this change and after the change for each of the fields that I made the change on? Once I'm satisfied, I can go ahead and click on approve. Now, in this workflow, how it has been configured, there is also a third approver. So I can go to their persona. Once I do that, I'll see that record populated in my inbox again, which I can then finally approve once I'm satisfied with all of the changes that I've made or the requester has made. Once done, I can then go back to the requester persona. And I have my task list configured here in my workspace. So I can just quickly go through and search for that record. So I have a few options here. I can go back and see that, okay, this change was requested. And I can see that this task list has now been updated in the base record as intended with the additional details with the updated assembly number and the work center, which was mechanical crew 0001. Likewise, we've discussed now what a change would look like. But something that we did focus on, and something that is really amazing, is that you can also create master data through Guy. So let me go back to raise a request again. And for the purpose of this example, we'll choose task list again. Again, it's going to go back, see what operations are available, how the flows have been set up, what particular operations I can perform, and give me a list here, and I can choose on create. But maybe I'm a novice user. Maybe I'm coming in as someone who doesn't have a lot of knowledge about master data, and I just want to create this task list as a standalone task list. But I'm not sure what all fields do I need, right? So I can just go free text again here and ask Guy, hey, give me a list of fields that are mandatory for the header section. So it's not just information that you're passing through, it's also information that you're extracting. So I can say, yes, I do. Please give me fields all right. So again, it's going to go back to the forms, see how it's been set up. It's going to go into my data set and get me a list of all of the fields that are mandatory for me to submit this record and for this section, right? So now I can simply just use these fields and paste it in my chat here, and then give it the values. For the purpose of time, I have already saved that information with me, so I'm just going to use that and paste it here. But what I also have in the background is some business rule validations. So once I submit these fields for processing, what Guy is also going to do is validate and make sure those fields are governed through those business rules. So once done, it's going to give me a response catered to that. So now, as you can see, it says, hey, I've done what you asked of me. I've updated these fields as you asked, which is the plan, the work center. These are all the mandatory fields. But there's a few more fields that I need as per the business rules that have been set up. So I can just go back here, and again, I have some information already lying for me, so I can just quickly paste here. I have a crew number as well, so I can do that. And quickly, as you can see, just use this information. Looks like it didn't copy right. All right, that's it. So it does tell me that, hey, you're trying to put in more values than there should be in this particular field. So real time, it will validate the values that I'm also giving in or feeding into Guy. So I can click on this field again. It's going to ask me for a counter. I can give it the counter, which is 01 for this example, because the group hasn't been used earlier. Then give it the process. And you'll see that even I can choose drop downs from here. So I know this is a preventive maintenance that I'm creating. So I can click on confirm, give it the model number, which is CB4500 in this example. Once confirmed and validated, you'll see these fields turning green, which just means that the values that I've put in this particular field is validated through Guy and is the correct value. So I can go back and give it the GRC number. give it the task list type, which is going to be a general task list in this example. I do have a long text here as well. So I can give it that. Looks like an extra value. Click on confirm. Choose the strategy. It's going to be a time-based strategy. Then I've got the system condition, which is an operation. And basically go through each of these fields and validate and give it the values that's intended. So I'm not only feeding in values into Kai. Kai is also validating all of the values that are put in, making sure the data that is going into the system is properly governed and according to my needs. So I know that this task list is supposed to be valid from the 1st of September. So I can choose that date, click on confirm. And once I'm satisfied, I can go ahead and say, hey, I want to see the updated summary. So now it's going to create a list of all of the fields and values that I've input, and it's going to give me an updated summary. So we can see here that I'm working on this plant with these details, why I'm raising this request. It's a preventive maintenance, have some long text in there, all of the necessary information that is configured for this module to be present while creating a task list. Once I'm satisfied with that, I can submit the request and maybe give it a reason of that. So I've got my reason there, and let's submit. There we go. So it says, hey, the submission is successful, and this is the record number that I've created, which is TL, bunch of zeros and 8. So TL8 is what I'll see in my approver persona as well. So I can just refresh that. And I'll see that TL8 has come to me for the approver, which was requested through Kai. Again, similar process. I can open the record, make sure that the changes are made, what this task list is, and if I'm satisfied, well, approve. So that is essentially what a change and a create through Kai would look like. Simple, easy, straightforward, and very user-friendly. So I don't need to know a lot about master data, or I don't need to get into the business rules or the forms or any of those things. I just need to come down to Kai and, as an assistant, ask it questions, give it answers. So we have a few other things also coming in. For example, let me just go on here to the Kai configurator really quickly and go to the token analytics. So we also have an analytics section purely for Kai, which talks about the tokens being used, how many requests have been raised today, and this is all for the last 5 minutes, and what the average response time looks like, which is a little over 5 seconds right now. Looks like I'm the only active user. And it gives me a trend analysis for the last 7 days, the last 30 days, and things like that. We also have a model performance comparison, time distribution, some conversation metrics, which include what is the average duration users on average were sitting with Kai having a conversation. What is the conversation depth? What is the average tokens per conversation, which both of these things denoting how complex were the requests, how much complexity did you or Kai get into to raise your request. the active days, number of requests per day, all of these metrics, right? So this is also the completion rate. So how many times did the user actually get onto Kai and submit the request? So this being something that we're demoing on, and I don't submit a lot of requests, the completion rate looks pretty low. And this is also then bifurcated per user as well. So a lot of analytics here. Then we also have something interesting. So, for example, this is our fine tuning section. So I know in some cases, field engineers may call the assembly field guts. So, hey, the guts is supposed to be this number, right? Change the guts to this number. So we already saw that Kai is capable of understanding abbreviations like DESC, which is short for task list description. So it's able to go into the module, identify what fields could be present, identify it against the values, what I mean, understand the intent, where I want to action, and then go and pick out that particular field. But maybe guts is not very similar sounding, or guts is something that your organization uses and not a worldwide phenomenon, not a global practice. So you can go to this fine tuning section. Now, this is certainly going to be admin controlled, and configure saying, hey, change the guts to, and you can explain Kai that when a user comes in and tells you that change the guts to this number, you're actually supposed to change the assembly record to this number. Again, these would be variables in nature, so they don't, necessarily mean a lot. They can be configured, but that is what it would look like. So you can also have personalization when talking to Kai. So it's not just an assistant that's created, mass created, or you can only feed it values that are globally understood, but also personalize it for your needs and for your organization. Well, which essentially brings me to the end of our demo for Kai. And I'm just going to stop sharing my screen here and hand it over back to Kai or Hai.
easily confused. Thanks, Arnav. Thank you for that demo. And I think that's critically the power of Kai. What we showed you here was quite a complicated setup. So again, you may not necessarily put in 50 fields for a particular user to fill out. And also we picked task list because it's probably one of the more complicated modules that is used in SAP. So we wanted to showcase the full capability, but as Arnav mentioned, you can go as customized or as strict with your rules as you need, or as permissive as you need, right? So all of this is fully configurable to you. Kai is configurable to your organization to understand your data, or to understand how your users want to interact with Kai, and Kai would understand, and we can configure that. So those are the key things we wanted to show you. Now, I'd like to go through our roadmap on what we envision for Kai. And as always, we invite our partners and our customers to talk to us and tell us what is most important to you, what would be most valuable to you. And of course, we can discuss and of course, bring out the most relevant features out to you. But this is where Kai is heading, and I want to spend a few minutes there before we go to question and answers. So let me share my screen again. All right. And this is what our roadmap looks like. So right now, our Kai Master Data AI agent for all modules is available. The Kai configurator is available also at a preview stage. So preview for us, of course, means that there is some improvements that we're still doing, and to basically refine the process and refine the feature. But it is available for you to preview and to test out and run and see how that can be integrated into your enterprise. Our next step, and I think this part is critical to the whole process, right? So you have data, we have data enrichment as well as multi-object requests. So we know, for example, that when a user initiates a request, they may not know everything about, let's say, a material or asset, right? So, and we don't expect them to, right? And that part is our next release is to use AI to automatically enrich that data. So you should be able to fill in some minimal fields to identify that particular material, and then Kai will search the internet and our own data sources and classifications, etc., to then enrich that material before it gets to the approver. So again, we're wanting to cut down as much data input as possible, which then, of course, improves the turnaround time and, of course, the value of Kai to your organization. The other, what we mentioned, is multi-object requests. We know that sometimes when you're submitting a task list or a plant or whatever piece of master data you make, usually it's got related objects as well. So we understand that, and in this particular next release, you'll be able to operate on and create or change multiple objects in one go, right? So then you don't have to make multiple requests that is related to multiple object creations related to one request. Okay. When we say imminent, we're really talking weeks. So we're very excited to bring that out next, and I'm sure we're going to have another webinar to go through and show you how that works. Going into a little bit further ahead is our fourth quarter for 2025. We're looking at, I'll talk about Kai for mobile first, actually. And this is to give you a different way to interact with Kai. Like if you're mobile, if you're an engineer, you're probably on your feet all the time, you're not in front of a computer. How would you input that? How would you interact with Kai? So we will bring out a mobile interface to make that easier, and a shorter form where you can interact with voice or voice chat, as opposed to typing on the keyboard, which is quite difficult, especially if you're on the field or if you have something in your hand. The next, the other release we're looking at is Kai MCP. So rather a technical term, but if you're familiar with software development and that sort of ecosystem, we've got APIs, and Kai MCP is basically an AI, is basically the REST APIs for AI, right? So what that means is we can then integrate with Joule. You can integrate with Joule, integrate with Office and Outlook and Teams, or basically any software that is MCP compatible. So that just opens up the door for master data to be created from basically various sources, as long as it's MCP compliant, which is actually industry standard for AI. And like I mentioned, Outlook and Teams integration, that we're looking to build that in 2026 as a native integration, right? So we know a lot of you guys use emails and Teams and chats and and that's those type of platforms which you're very familiar with. We want to bring that as a native experience. Okay. And a big part of our 2026 roadmap is XFuse, which is our mass creation process. Now, there's lots of technical let's say technical challenges that we're meeting with mass creation process with AI. So we're very excited to be working on that. We're actually working on that right now. But we probably envision that for something that is going to be released in 2026. One key part to improving data quality is basically looking into your existing tenant and how else or what other ways could you improve data quality, right? And so we want to utilize Kai to interrogate your own tenant, give you data insights to how to improve your data quality or data quality matrix, etc., and basically help you make suggestions such as rules or dashboards or other parts within your tenant and within your modules on how to improve the data quality overall by looking historically and using AI to make those suggestions. So that's why we're looking forward to 2026. But within the next 2 or 3 months, you'll be seeing a lot more of Kai. You'll be seeing a lot more features coming out, and of course, our teams will be in touch with you. Or if you get in touch with us, tell us how we can help you and leverage Kai within your enterprises. All right, with that, I think we might leave a few minutes towards the end, PU, for questions if there are.
Thank you so much, Hai. Thank you, Arnav, for that amazing session. We have Nitin asking us that does Kai support the approval process also?
Currently, Kai is configured for initiation process. Approval process, we see it more as a lot more of a lot more fields, a lot more forms with data enrichment and with validation and verification, right? And that is really more for the domain of the data stewards. That's not to say we're not looking at it. At the moment, it's for initiation.
Thank you so much, Hai, for that. We do not have any further questions that have been placed in the comment box. So for all those viewers who have joined us live, the chat is now open for you to post your questions if you have any. I would also want to let you know that this is just the beginning of our product webinars, and we will be discussing the latest developments within the product, whether that be around Kai or the exciting other features that are coming up in the subsequent webinar series. So any further questions? Nilesh, you had a question? Well, Hai, I think that's about it as far as the questions on the comment box are concerned. If you want to have a few closing lines, and then we can close the event.
Yes, only that we'd love to hear from you. Like I mentioned before, we'd love to develop with your inputs and your suggestions on how it might be useful for you. Obviously, this is the first time many people would have seen Kai, so it might not be immediately obvious. So feel free to reach out to us, and we're more than happy to discuss on how to make this solution work for you. right? So it does work out of the box, but we do find that a little figuration does actually go a long way, especially in understanding your organization specific terminology, right? And we find that when you put in a little bit of that terminology, it makes Kai work wonders.
Thank you so much, Hai. And thanks everybody for joining the webinar. And we look forward to seeing you again soon in our next webinar, and we'll update you on LinkedIn around that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.